Hello everyone, and welcome to the Miradore webinar on business policy enforcement in Miradore Online. My name is Sean Brennan, and I'm a marketing specialist here at Miradore. So let's have a look at the agenda. First, our technical consultants and key account manager for Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, Mr. Andreas Handler, will run through a demonstration, and more about that shortly. And then Mr. Tom Gerritsen, ICT manager of Dutch healthcare company RIBW, will present his case study for using Miradore Online. And then we'll have a Q&A session with both Andreas and Tom to answer all of your questions. So we encourage you to type your questions in the question box during the demonstration. And then some closing remarks. So just a bit more about the demonstration. Andreas is going to run through business policies in Miradore Online using two different Android devices. He'll explain the benefits of business policies, then create the business policy, and finally showing how to assign one to a group of devices. And now we'll begin the demonstration. Hand it over to Andreas.
Thanks, Sean, for the introduction, and hello out there. Today we are talking about business policies. I've prepared this site with two phones that are already enrolled. The first one is a Samsung, it's an Xcover 3 Value Edition, and there is this LG Nexus 5. And I also pre-configured some configuration profiles. I have this 4-number passcode, I have the location tracking, and I have the Miradore web page. This is a web shortcut at the home screen. I also prepared an application. Here is the ping application I want to have on this device. And I also prepared a file, the Miradore logo, and I want to bring all this application, configuration profile, and files to my devices. So how can I do it? I can deploy the file with deploy file, select the device, and deploy it. The same I can do with applications, and the same I also can do with configuration profiles. But it's much more efficient and much more easy to use the business policies. Therefore, I create one. I want to apply this business policy to a user group, not to all devices, and this can I do with tags. I choose therefore a tag that means automate, and I say next. Then I choose all these configuration profiles. Then I choose the Bing app, and I also want to deploy the Miradore logo to the device. And I call this business policies, there's name, default automate. So it's a free name. I just want to show that it can be more efficient to use policies. That's why I call it automate. Here is a summary. So when I enroll this policy, I get the prompt that I have to enter a passcode. If I don't have, the location tracking is enabled. The Miradore web page shortcut is created on the home screen. The application ping for Android is deployed, and also the file Miradore PNG is sent to the phone. Okay, so let's create it. So we're almost there. Okay, here we have this tag automate. So I go to the devices, and I also add some tags here. Add tags. I select all devices. Okay. Now we go to the screen of my phone, I see the Miradore client is connected. It starts syncing. In between I can take, oh, here is already the text, the shortcut was created. Okay, it still keeps syncing. On the top there you can see an icon, a new one. There is a request. I take a look at it. The installation of the app is requested. I say okay, you're allowed to install this app. I chose the way to install it from the App Store, so it opens up. I accept, because it's deployed with the Google Play account that is entered on the device, and now it's downloaded. You can see it on the top. Ping, installing Ping. Now when I go, oh okay, Ping already exists. Here I can see the Ping app is installed. The Miradore web shortcut is created. When I click on it, he asks me which browser I want to use, and it opens up. This is the first time I use the Chrome here, so I accept. Oh, and the website is there. So if I click this web shortcut, it brings me directly to the website. The app is installed successfully, perfect. I also can see this at the events. When I go on the left side here to the events, I can see the passcode is completed, the location tracking is enabled, the web shortcut is created, and the file is deployed. So when I go here at the phone and I enter the gallery, at the moment there are no items. I choose albums. Okay, it's not in the albums because I deployed it directly to the file system, and I hope if I go directly here I can see the file. It's the last one. Perfect. So on the top you can see here Ping is also installed. On the top you can see there is this Nexus 5 phone. The location tracking is already enabled. So here is completed. For the passcode he is waiting that I enter a new code because there was no code. So I go to this device now. I enter a passcode and say OK. I entered the passcode on the phone. I say refresh on the screen, and now I can see here the user has entered the passcode. So the enrollment of the passcode configuration profile was completed, location tracking completed, the web shortcut completed, the file deployment completed, and the app installation requires an action of me that I have to agree. As on the phone before, I do this now on this Nexus 5 too. So this may take a second until the app is downloaded. After I agreed, now it's downloaded and installed and completed. So, as you can see, it's very easy to bring settings with configuration profiles, apps with the application tab here, and files with the file tab here, to all of your devices. So you can use the business policies to automate your complete mobile device management environment. You can create user groups with tags, and you can create business policies for these user groups to bring their files, apps, and configurations. With configurations, you also can create email accounts on the device, or with Android for Enterprise, you have to use the applications to get email accounts to the device. So that's all. I want to say thanks for your attention, and Sean, the stage is yours again. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Andreas. And now I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Tom Gerritsen of RIBW to present his case studies. And Tom, now the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Sean. I'm going to introduce myself first. I'm Tom Gerritsen from the RIBW Arnhem-Veluwe. We are a Dutch company working at the healthcare. Our main guidance, that was a bit too quick. We have people in our environment that we are helping with brain damage, psychiatric illness, drugs, alcohol abuse, and young people who are from unhealthy situations at home and getting our help. We have about approximately 650 employees, more than 2,000 clients who are living independently or in the community. So a lot of our employees need to visit these clients at several locations. At the IT department from our main store, main building, the headquarters, we work with six people and 2 for managing Miradore. And we have more than 700 devices registered in Miradore, and that number is still growing. We mostly use Samsung devices, the smartphones and tablets. Why are we using Miradore? Why will we need an MDM? That was actually our first question. We need to protect our information because we are not only at the office, we travel a lot. And for that situation, we are vulnerable for devices that are getting lost or even stolen, and we have to protect all the information. Dutch healthcare is strictly monitored by the Dutch law, so all the information which are client information must be protected and at all times. By that, we were searching for a MDM program, an MDM manufacturer who can provide us with protection, but also location tracking, and if it's necessary, a lock or clear function for the device we can access remotely. We need to service also our devices remotely. You can say we update frequently our devices with new information that can be a link shortcut to a web page, but also newly applications that are pushed. And sometimes we take a new, or we revoke an application when it's not required anymore. Why Miradore? We did a survey to look for a company that matched our requirements, and we are not a big company with huge funding and finance for this kind of product, so quickly look at some pricings and licenses was also very necessary for us. When I looked up several manufacturers, I found that Miradore at that time was available with an MDM version in a beta status, and it was a free version, so it was a great opportunity for us to start with this version. After several months, the beta version was renewed, and there was a business version. The business version had many tools and functions within itself that were matching our requirements. And after a few months later, the Enterprise edition was introduced, and now we are running the Enterprise version, and it's completely matching our requirements. We have all the things we need at this time and at this moment, so we can make it the best for our requirements and still evolving the product. Also, we can make good reports to create a good overview to let our managers see how our users and our devices are doing. And from the first time, the support team, the contact with Miradore was very great. We got more than once a quick response, and all the answers to our questions were from a good level that we can also get some good results when we had a problem and were asking for any help. When we started to work with Miradore, we had to take some odd information and a few particular handlings for making the product available on our devices. First, we installed the Android client. We mainly use Android devices. So we downloaded the Android Miradore Online APK file, installed it, and then we've got an app settings config file. We uploaded it to the devices, and when the device was ready to sync, then it got shown up in our overview in the Miradore devices list. That was a lot of work, especially when the numbers grow in our environment, and we had to look up for other ways to make it more efficiently to connect new devices. And when the Enterprise edition came available for us, we introduced also a new kind of introducing and installing the new devices. This is a quick overview how we work now. When new devices arrive, we install the product and register it. We have a small serial number and email register file besides Miradore. We do all the basic settings and nothing more. We use the enrollment invitation from Miradore to send the new user who is going to use the device an invitation. Then we, when the device is listed and enrolled in our environment, we add a tag, and the tag is connected to our business policies. And when it's applied, the business policy will will be rolled out when the device is syncing with our environment. You see a small overview from the enrollments the last month. October was a quiet month for us, but the last 2 weeks we already in February enrolled 19 new devices. So every month there will be a lot of devices enrolled, and this is how it sees of how it looks when we will invite a user for an Android environment. The complete enrolling information you'll see on the screen is also mailed to the user. The user gets the information by mail, installs the information requested, in this version the Miradore client from Android, and then the user can register the smartphone or tablet by entering the information he received in the email, by mainly the username and password. When that's done, the user gets the business policy information we add to the device by tag. We have several tags used in our information in our review list. We mainly use the business policy smartphone and business policy tablets. And each configuration, each business policy is different, because we do not need all the information on all the apps the same on the smartphone as on the tablet. And later on you will see an example of the applications that are being pushed by the business policy. We also are testing at this moment business policy for a new smartphone from LG, and we have a business policy tablet from Hewlett Packard, the HP. We are at this moment testing with. All the applications of all the devices get the Google Docs, the Google Spreadsheet, Google tools we use at the office, and also a antivirus tool from Sophos and a quick support by TeamViewer. So we can also support the devices remotely, and our employees don't have to visit the headquarters all the time, and it saves a lot of traveling time, and we can assist them remote if there are any questions. We also have a training session at our headquarters for new members, new employees. Sometimes the users need to user credential must be filled in the configuration of the device itself. When that's done, we also set a 5-number digit for a passcode protection for our systems. And at that time we'll also be testing the functionality from our devices, so everyone leaves with a good working and a good protected system. You'll see we have at this time 375 business devices enrolled to our business policy, and this is for the smartphone. And at the next slide you'll see the business policy we have for the smartphone. We have a few apps that will be of the applications that will be pushed to the devices, and we also have some security settings, configuration profiles named. and that's mainly the basic settings, standard settings, RIBW AVV as we called it. And we have also location tracking, the positioning tool. Mainly in the basic settings we have disabled the ability to turn down or shut down the GPS function, and the location tracking is needed, so the device sends one time every hour an indication where the device is. And we had to disable the function so people cannot turn down the GPS function on their phone. Otherwise we don't get the information where the device is once time the notification is sent every hour. We had some issues, and we had some sometimes when people called us and they lost their phone or they didn't know where it was. By pulling this information out of the device, we had the ability to look for the device and help the people by giving them the information where the device was last located. And only one phone wasn't recovered. That was stolen afterwards, we found out, but the other phones were found, and it saves us a lot of money and also a lot of application management and application that must be revoked remotely from the device. So it gives us a lot of extra tools to protect and to give extra information to our employees in case of loss. This is a configuration for a Samsung tablet we use. The applications are a few more than the other one. We also have some Android configuration profiles, and that's mainly application, not an application but a shortcut to a website where people can find other information that's not available by app but by a shortcut. And here you see two examples of devices. The first one is a smartphone. It's a Samsung S5, the small one, the mini version. The device is compliant with the business policy. By business policy compliancy, the location tracking is also enabled. And also by the next one, the tablet, is compliancy available. The device also reported itself through a location notification, and this gives us the overview to see if all the appliances and all the devices are compliant, and if not, we can take action to see why it's not compliant and help to assist, if necessary, the employee to make it compliant. What will the future bring for us? Our next steps, at this time we use mainly Samsung devices. At this time our own company is fully using the Google products for their mail, calendar, Google Drive, etc. And The Miradore Online also supports the Google Android for Works environment, and we are testing this information and these tools, how we can put them into our environment, and also take further notice on how it's going to react on a non-Samsung device. So we have some LG Nexus phones, an HP tablet, and we have to figure it out, and we are testing and also collaborating with the Miradore service and support, how we can implement this environment in our already existing environment, so we are not completely have to use only the Samsung devices, but we can also change to another device if necessary. Okay, this is my my presentation. Sean, I'll give it back to you now.
Great, thank you, Tom. And now it's time for the Q&A part of our session, where Andreas and Tom will answer any questions you have. So for you, Tom, there's one question. On your presentation on slide 9, you had, say, a screenshot about the deployment status of your business policies. Was there a reason that the application deployment was only at 98% completion, while the configuration profiles and file deployments were 100% completed?
Yes. We have a few employees who are at this moment not available. They are on sick leave, or they are for a longer period not at the office. And when we make a change in our business policy, the business policy will be asked to sync directly after a change to the devices. And when those people who are longer away from work have their devices not turned on, there won't be a sync. So the next time when they are at the office, they'll put on the device. The device sees with a new sync there are new changes in the business policy, and then there will be 100% sync and business policy compliance. So sometimes it happens when you have a larger amount of people and devices, there are a few devices who are not completely business policy compliant.
Okay, great. Thank you for that very detailed answer. Andreas, are you here with us still?
Yes, I hear you.
Oh, great. Perfect. So there's a few questions geared towards your presentation. First was from one that says, I have a question about business policies. A long time ago, we've made a business policy which is added to our devices in Miradore. Is there any chance to change those settings?
Yes, Sean, you can give me the presentation rights. I guess I have one environment where there was a business policy created. This is this test policy. I guess you can see my screen, Sean.
I can.
Okay. Here I had just this 4-number passcode for Windows Phone, and if I open it up, I can add some text to change the scope, and I also can add additional configuration profiles, add applications, and add files here. So the business policy could be changed after creating. So the answer is definitely yes.
Okay, thank you. Another question that we have here is, when devices are first set up as supervised, does this process remain the same? would the device be given the option to accept, etc.?
Okay, here there is the answer yes and no. The process is the same. If the device, the iOS device is in supervised mode, you don't have to agree to application installation, but you definitely have to do an action at the device when a passcode is requested. So if you have a passcode policy for a 6-digit passcode and you have just a 4-number passcode, you have to do an action on the device, also in supervised mode. But for app installation, this action on the device is not necessary. I hope that answers the question.
Great, perfect. And one final question we see here. Does Miradore support Android for Work or Android Enterprise?
Yes, I can answer this question. We support Android for Enterprise at the moment with the profile owner mode that allows to create a secure area, a workspace area on an Android device where there is a special storage area on the device for the company contacts maybe, and there is a normal area for the private contacts, and the private area, the private apps couldn't access this company data. And I guess in about 2 to 3 weeks we will bring the device owner mode for companies. So this is the full possibility to manage your Android for Enterprise ready device with Android for Enterprise and Miradore. And I guess I will there will be a webinar on the 9th of March.
That's true.
Okay, perfect. And then you can see how it works. And there is a webinar, the YouTube video already available for Android for Enterprise with container.
Great. Thank you, Andreas.
You're welcome.
Right. So I see no further questions here. So I'd like to give a huge thanks, especially to Tom Garrison for presenting his very interesting case study today. And of course, thanks to Andreas for giving the demo. And of course, thank you to all our listeners. And don't forget to join us next week at 1900 hours CET for our webinar on an overview of Android Enterprise and Miradore Online. Thank you and have a great rest of your week. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye-bye.